Hi there everyone. This is just a quick video I'm going to make of a demo of setting up your document for your final art, going from workup sketch to final art in case anyone needs a reminder or any little recommendations as you work on your final projects. So I have here just a 8.5 by 11 artboard, and I'm going to be tracing over my workup sketch. So here's my workup sketch file. Looks like this. I have my full value on there, but it's still a rough pencil sketch that I just added value to. So I'm just going to take this, drag it down to Illustrator. Here I will resize it. Make sure you hold Shift when you resize things so it doesn't skew it too skinny or too wide. Alright, so always remember to be on Essentials Classic up here in the upper right hand corner. So I'm on Essentials Classic there. Then I will open up my layers right here. If your layers is not open, it's under Window, Layers. Okay, this is all the same steps we've done before, just in case anyone needs a reminder. Then I will double click on this little square by layer 1. I will check template, and let's rename it to Workup Sketch. Alright, so now's the part where you have to start getting creative. So I'm going to use different layers to build up this composition to kind of go from background to foreground and big shapes to small shapes. So I'll just put in one big shape here for the background value. And again, I'm going to hit Control Y so I can kind of see through the shapes that I'm drawing. So remember, hitting Control Y only works when you're this first layer, when I made that a template layer. So Control Y is a nice feature. So I'll just call this background. Lock that, turn it off. Then I will make a new layer, call this hill and water. So I'll do one layer that just has the hill here in the background. So this piece, I obviously, as you can see, I wanted to go for a mood here that had some chaos to it, that had some motion to it, and the darker values to get a little bit scarier as well. So remember, always think about those moods as you're working on this final project to help make that interesting and engaging cover illustration image. And Control Y again, just to go back and forth between that wireframe view and the regular view. Alright. Control Y, Control Y. Okay, cool. That's probably good for that. Excuse me. Then I'll do one layer here for the boat. I have to zoom in a little bit more down here on the boat. So again, big shapes to small shapes. I'll do one shape for the entire sail here, and then one shape for the main part of the boat, and one shape for the little guy in the boat. And look, I really have to zoom in close for these small details to make it easier for me to see them, and then easier to get those very small little shapes. Okay. Alright. Zoom back out, turn my other layers on, kind of make sure things are being visible. Right now, as I'm looking at this, the water and the sky need a little bit of separation. So let's make this just a little bit lighter here for the water. It'll end up having a lot of different values on it, but I still want to make sure there's enough value contrast that the major shapes are separating. Maybe I make the background a little bit darker too. There we go, that's looking a little better. Cool. And now my secondary focal point here is standing out, where my main focal point will be the fish. So I'm going to make another layer here, call it fish. All my other layers are locked since I'm not working on them. And again, going from big shape to small shape. So I'm going to trace the entire silhouette of this fish here. So all the way up to his fin. And remember, then I can use the shape builder tool to separate the lighter sections, darker sections within the silhouette of the fish, but I like to get that entire silhouette first. So it probably will take you the most time to get these overall silhouettes, which is good because you're spending the time to get those silhouettes right, and then every smaller shape after that will be just a little bit quicker for you to trace over. Down here to the tail. Okay, as we see right now, it is a dark shape, so the background's dark, so I want my focal point to be light. There we go. So those are kind of all the major shapes there. I will make sure that my values are working well. I think I'll make the water just a little bit darker here. Maybe the sky as well. That gets darker, then this little piece of land has to get darker. There we go. So it's always a balancing of those values and make sure certain shapes are standing out as you go forward. And then here's the final cover that I've worked up before. So look how many layers I have here. I have a lot of layers. All these raindrops here are on their own layer. So after I got these major shapes done, then it's kind of just going into each layer, adding details, and adding extra effects. So, so the boat here has a lot of little details on it, as you can see. I added some texture here on the sail, and lots of little shapes, so you have... There's not a lot of detail on the old man in the boat, but you can see the difference between the shadows, his beard, a little bit of texture on the boat, and then texture on the sails. The fish is probably the most involved. Let me zoom out just a little bit. But that's all on his own layer there. So all the little stripes, all the lights and darks. And I really wanted to draw it in an angular way, again, to get that motion and get kind of the scary mood. The lightning here I added is on its own layer. Here's the sky. So here I tried out two different versions of the sky. So one has the sky which is hard edge shapes. And this is the second version I did where I put that blur filter on the sky. And I think that blur filter works a little bit better. It kind of makes all those cloud shapes feel like they're further away. So remember, if the blurs are here under effect, blur, Gaussian blur. So you have to select a shape and then apply this Gaussian blur to it. So I selected all the shapes in the sky, blurred them just a little bit. So not one of these is necessarily better, but I think the blurred one kind of separates the fish from the background a little bit better. And then the sky. So that's it. If anyone has any questions about this process, let me know. There will be more videos and mini lectures to come.